Guys, happy Friday.
We are live for the second time ever. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Mystic Sisters Live. How are you today, Ona?
I'm good. I'm good. I had a day off and it sort of like drizzled the whole day. So it required me to focus on, the home stuff.
You being yourself?
Laundry, started with that, nail care,
Yes.
Friday Venus kind of thing. Friday is a Venus day. And I
Yes, it
got
is.
dead seriously, right? So I do Venus-y type things. Maybe I do a little shopping, my nails, clean the house, make sure it's kind of tidy for the weekend. I don't know why, but it's sort of this sort of ritual thing. You pluck out one of those days out of the week that is dedicated to that.
Well, Friday, of course, is Venus's day. It's named after Freya, right? The goddess of love from the
Mhm.
northern Norse tradition. And I have Venus in my 10th house, so Friday is a good work day for me.
Yeah. Oh,
We have some highs. We have Kat's Cauldron. Hi, Kat. And Brittany. Hello, Brittany.
hi,
And
Brittany.
Brittany from PA. PA. I don't know.
Laura. Opal.
Laura, Opal. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're going to talk about different things. So I put out a thing for questions. We got two questions that we can talk about. And then, of course, we should really talk about the elephant and the donkey in the room. Um,
Absolutely. Let's wait for more people to join. Maybe
yes,
somebody
yes.
will throw a question in. Um, I know you want to talk about it too, like the everyone in the comment section there. I know you want to sort of express your how you feel in a safe place where we are like-minded people are there. Please do and see if we can get some comments, see if we can get some sense out of that debate. Oh,
Well, I definitely have. It took me, I had to step back.
yeah.
You have to step back from it. And I think that one of the dangers of this sort of age is that instant, like, it's over. Like, no, 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 no. It's just beginning. It's just, this is one of many things, one of many opportunities, crisis is opportunity. So,
Mhm.
the one thing I do want to say, and it actually happened to me today. I had two clients today,
Yeah.
and I woke up probably from watching the uh, the debate. I woke up in kind of a strange mood, and I was very sort of low energy. And I knew I had two readings, and I always like to give my best. And I thought to myself, man, if I could just have one reading today. And I'm not one to, and like 5 minutes later, my first reading called and wasn't feeling well, and said to me, "Can we do it another day?" I said, "Sure, we'll do it tomorrow. I love working on Saturdays, and I actually do love working on Saturdays too."
Yeah.
So I got instant manifestation.
Yeah.
So I bring that up because we do have to remember that what we focus on and our wishes, as it were, do happen and they come quick. And we're in a manifestation year. So I think we have to be real careful about jumping to conclusions with stuff and just sort of step back and look at it
Mhm.
without reacting to it. We have to really learn how to respond. And the moon was in Pisces during that,
Yes.
so it wasn't ever going to be clear. It wasn't ever going to be anything clear cut. I think there was nuance. There was quite a bit of delusion, I
Yeah.
think.
What a perfect example for Piscean moon,
I
right?
know.
Like just clinical.
Yes,
Right?
yes. Ona and I were sort of interacting while we were watching it, not together, but separately. And at one point, I sent her a little GIF of a guy like falling down a cliff. And that's when whatever they had 45 on sort of stopped working.
Yeah.
And then things got very repetitive, and he just would like hyper focus on, you know, 3 or 4 things. And Biden was like, huh?
Yeah.
I don't think if we had seen pictures of ourselves during that thing, we would have looked exactly like Joe.
I didn't know what to, how I was processing it until I figured out how I was processing it. And, you know, I had just walked home from work, and I work in a psychiatric hospital, you guys. Okay. So I'm going to throw some clinical terms in there. Please ask me to explain if I need to. And I was getting nauseous. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe I got up and I'm like, maybe I didn't eat. You know, what was the last thing I ate? And I thought, okay, let me just try and walk this off. Ate cracker and came back here, and I'm like, like, no. This, I wanted to focus. I had my pen, my pencil, my paper. I wanted to do a thing. I wanted to try and get some aura vibes. It didn't sit.
Hmm.
It didn't sit. So after it was all said and done, I took a shower. I went to bed. That was the only thing I could do to kind of like wash it away.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was, there was a disorientation. It felt very disoriented.
Yeah.
And I did hear that Biden was not feeling well, that he had a cold.
Mhm.
And I know, you know, I'm not 80, however old he is, 80, 82 maybe. When I get a cold, your energy goes like,
Yeah.
just like that, you know. And he's also working really hard on a lot of really hard things. And
Mhm.
the other guy is not. The
Yeah.
hardest thing he had to do was sit in a courtroom. That was it. That's all he had to do. And he could
I'm
barely
sure
do that.
there were a lot of things that you were thinking or yelling at the TV to rebut
Yes.
the conversation. I think he did well for what was presented to him. I think he was easily distracted, and there was a tipping point, and there was
Now, who are you talking about?
it was just verbal vomit, like bitch
Oh,
fight,
so you're talking about Trump. That you were just talking about Trump.
both of them,
Oh, both of them. Okay. Yeah. See,
both of
to
them.
me, it seemed like he was on for about 20, a half hour.
Mm-hmm.
And there was actually an astrological aspect, and I can't remember what it was.
Ooh.
And I said, watch what happens at this time, because it had something to do with the moon. And I can't remember what it was, of course, because the moon was in Pisces. I don't remember anything. Um, but somebody, I think it was Opal, said that Jake and Dana should have called out the lies. And I do agree, but I think, you know, CNN is not our friend.
Right. And I
CNN is
think the reason for the fact checking not being present immediately
yes,
was contracted, and the fact checks come later.
yeah,
There wasn't that wasn't supposed to, that was probably part of the deal, right? That they can't have a fact checker there. And I think Biden would agree with that too. I'm going to get the dog because he's going to start his
yeah.
business.
He wants to be part. He's a mystic. He's a mystic sister.
He's been sleeping all day.
Okay. Yeah, I think Dorian comments here that the empty room, right? There was nobody to feed off of. It was kind of, it was strange. It was just very, very strange. But everything has been strange, honestly. Even when we had the inauguration of Biden, it was strange.
Yeah.
It was like we were on a different planet, and I understood why they did that at that time. But there's this, everything has sort of been, even the whole campaign in 2020, everything was so isolating because we were sort of in an isolated place,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? So it's just a whole different, I don't know.
Yeah.
We're just in a whole different space. And maybe that's part of the ascension process, you know, to like be less embroiled in a way and
Mhm.
have a little more perspective, or, you know, I don't know.
You know what, have perspective is exactly it. So a lot of what Trump was doing was called echolalia, where he just take, and he's done this before, taking one word and bouncing off of that, and growing veins off of that one word, that one kind, and then moving on. It's a distraction technique, but he's also clearly lost a lot of executive function, meaning the front part of the brain there,
Mhm.
either trauma, drug use, age,
Right.
has
Yeah.
kind of dissolved a lot a bit, and some of the things he says he does not think through and
Right.
can't. And Joe, I think, is simple, softening dementia style, Bell's palsy appearing,
Well, that's kind of hard to say because I think they've done a lot of Botox, honestly, on Joe. And and
interesting.
and I don't think that that helps. I think when you take the facial expression away, it adds to the mask-like appearance.
Yeah,
And I could be wrong about that, but I don't know. Like that, everybody does Botox. After a while, all the Hollywood stars are walking around like this now.
yeah. Oh, it's not even. It's so disturbing. Oh my God. I think part of that might be because he had surgery, and it might just be some nerve, either, obviously the skin isn't as plastic anymore, and some maybe nerve damage that's caused that kind of drooping,
Mhm.
or a stroke.
Yeah, well, he has had a stroke back in the way back when he had the. I think it was was it in the 80s or the 90s when he had the Joe Biden had
He had an
the
aneurysm.
brain bleed, an aneurysm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
why he had to get out of the presidential race.
Yeah.
But as I say about Joe, three times a charm, right?
Yeah.
He went after the third time. Every few people. Hi, Wendy. Our buddy Wendy is here.
Oh, hey,
Yay.
Wendy. I'm just looking. Yeah,
To
there's.
all our buddies, by the way. I just noticed Wendy's name. But they said that he was down in Carolina, I think, and he really was on fire. He really rocked it. So I think that they made the mistake, and I mean, like the people who helped Biden get ready, they kind of readied him for a debate.
Yes.
That's not what we had.
Yes.
What do you do? Like, I was listening to David Feldman. If anybody hasn't heard David Feldman, he's got some really good stuff about this. But he always has good stuff. And he used to be, or it might still be, stand-up comedian, but he does a lot of political commentary. He knows a lot, a lot, a lot.
Mhm.
And he was saying that Biden should have just laughed more, because if he had just laughed at the ridiculous things that Trump had said, then people would have laughed too. They would have been like, he tried to use like reply and reason for things that were
With a
completely,
narcissist.
well, and then I mean,
You
there's a
can't.
narcissist, and then there's just crazy talk, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it wasn't, nothing was cohesive. There was no clear path to follow. And this is pretty much all I got out of it was, I can't believe that this is what we're being offered to run this country. I can't.
well, yes, yes, and my husband said something last night. Was it's not the the lesser of two evils. It's the I can't think of what he said. It was really, and he was right. But I think that there's something that we need to look at when it comes to ageism.
Yes.
Back in the day, age meant wisdom, and age
Mhm.
still means wisdom. I am certainly wiser now than I was when I was 30,
Yes.
and it counts for something. And it's not jingoism, it's wisdom. And I think that we have to get off of this. First of all, no president does it by himself. He has a cabinet, he has people that surround him, he's got a whole party behind him. The Democrats have things they want to do for us, and they're never going to get done if Biden doesn't get in. He's our choice. We have a choice between the light and the dark. And that's exactly what the choice is, from what I can tell.
Yeah. Yeah. Barbara's comment was interesting. Article by Heather
Heather.
Richardson on debate cited his gaslighting with special technique that floods the psychic zone. It's not a special technique. It's just how they are. It's just how. It's not like trained or learned. That's just the symptom of the disease of the personality disorder.
I mean, the luckiest man in the world that can use that as like fodder for his cannon, right? And you know what I mean? Like, why?
Yeah.
Right. So,
So I think honestly, to be honest, like to just like put it out there, okay, when I've pulled cards privately, I have had neither one show up as sitting in the Oval Office in January. So I don't know what's going to happen. I'm hanging in there just like everybody else and sort of seeing when I know Donald's going to just drop off soon. I don't see how after his sentencing in July there will be equal or more support. I don't believe that the support will maintain itself or get better.
do you know when? Because they want to do two debates, right? Who's the other one with? Do we know?
No idea.
Oh, it's ABC News, I think.
Okay.
This one was CNN, and I think the next one is supposed to be ABC, not Fox and not MSNBC, which is probably good because, certainly
It's more
Fox.
neutral, right?
So,
What are you pulling cards on?
I don't know yet. Just
No.
in case, just in case.
Right.
Um,
We got this deck out there.
Parry says we missed an opportunity to highlight the future plans for the
Yes.
well-being and our civility and freedoms with infrastructure, childcare, etc. I think he did mention child care, maybe, but there was so many things that he had to say,
Mm-hmm.
and there was also something with the microphone. The microphone wasn't in the right place.
I don't know. I
That's
don't know. I
and
think
it didn't seem
child.
he was hard to hear. Things
Yeah.
weren't clear.
Nope.
And that could have been because he was stuffed up or or maybe who knows. I don't know enough about the technicalities of
You
those.
do. He's in his he's 80 what? 80? And just like anybody else and everything that happens externally with your skin and stuff, okay, prolapsing, your larynx softens also.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, it's
So,
harder to you don't have the same muscle
right?
control coordination. Plus he was a stutterer. Tommy
Yes.
says I'll take a guy who struggles to speak the truth over a guy that easily tells lies any day of the week.
He
Right.
doesn't know he's lying. He doesn't know he's lying.
I don't know. Sometimes I think he does. I think it, but I know that when you get older and you have that narcissistic personality disorder, you start believing your lies more. But I think they know they lie. But I don't know because I don't lie. So, like for me, it's hard. And I lived with a narcissist for years, and she lied like a rug. She lied like a rug. And I didn't realize that until I realized that. And
Yeah,
then I realized that for years I was getting gaslit.
yeah.
You know?
And I think at his stage that, and it's really hard to appreciate that. And trust me, I try. I have to really pull from that, pool of empathy and think they actually don't know that they're lying. They live in that, they confabulate, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Part
he might be at that stage. Yeah.
part of it's true, most of it isn't, but it's all centered on making you look fantastic and the other party blaming them for everything. It's clinical, you guys. It's clinical. It's you know, it's not like one of us like going up there and knowing we're lying. He really believes what he's saying. He doesn't know he's lying.
Yeah. Well, it's that illusion delusion. I did a chakra spread on them for the debate, and Biden was standing on reality and Trump was
Yes.
not.
Yes.
And it's hard to debate. How do you debate? Like a debate is 2 points, two opposite points to one single truth, right? Like, oh, let's debate whether seatbelts are needed.
Right.
Well, so the initial like idea is seatbelts, but we can't even get to that place because one person is dealing in reality and one is just confabulating everything.
Right.
And so I don't even think the debate works in that respect unless they figure out another way to do it. And I don't know enough about debating. I was never in the debating club.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I think that once I honestly, and I pulled cards on the debate and I had 4 of Pentacles. And now I think what I want to say is Biden was ready and studied and learned on maybe 4 key things that are going to, propel this forward, right? It could have been child abortion. There were 4 points that he had, and he got detoured very easily.
well, I mean, I don't know how. The other thing, I mean, I'm not sure he got detoured as easily as we think. I think that he was trying to get a lot of information out there, and
Yeah.
then every time they asked Trump a question like asked about Putin, they asked about um,
I didn't see that.
fentanyl, they asked about the opioid crisis, right?
I
And
walked.
and he just wouldn't answer it. He just wouldn't answer it. He'd say, "No, no, I want to talk about this." And then when he'd say, "No, no, I want to talk about this," he'd say the same thing over and over and over again. And that's really when I think the medicine like wore off, because those were the only things he could remember, just the
Yes.
grievance, right?
And once you're in, and we talk about this even with energy, working with energy, observing energy, is once you get yourself into that pattern, you can't get out of it. So as soon as that narrative started, it didn't stop. It didn't stop. It didn't stop. It just was spinning out of control. And Joe did his best, I think, to rebut this attack. I mean, I see people regularly that are not that ill in the hospital, centered for that type of care.
Yeah. Yep. I know it's crazy. It's just
It's the
this
truth.
is the situation we're in, right? This is the situation we're in.
It's what's so
Um,
scary.
so I did put out a just a a shout out that we were going to do this, and I said if anybody had a question that they want us to look at, we got two questions. One was about aspects, wondering about how best to learn the aspects in astrology, which of course I love that question because I could go. I won't talk for an hour, but I could talk for an hour on that. And the other one was about the Dalai Lama. I guess he's not feeling well.
Yeah, what's up with?
Would you like to pull some cards on that, Ona,
Yeah.
on the Dalai Lama?
Um, you
You
know
know,
what?
and of course,
Do the angels that.
if he passes, somebody else, he reincarnates in somebody else. I don't understand that whole thing, but there's some sort of
Did you ever see that movie with the little boy?
the last Buddha, was that
Yes.
it?
And they had put all the glasses out, and he went and picked out the glasses that were. They like put him through a series of tests
Okay.
that way, and he passed all of them. I don't know what happened to him, but that was a really cool movie. And I like the backstory is reincarnation,
Right.
so that was really super cool. So the Dalai Lama, I got my mom's angel card deck out, okay, because he deserves the best.
Yes, he does.
He
He's a
deserves the
Cancer,
best.
His birthday is the 6th, same as July 6th, same as George W.
That's this week, huh?
Yeah, his birthday. And I think I don't know how old he is. He must be close to 80, right? The Dalai Lama. Anybody knows, you can put in. I don't know how old he is. I could look, but because I'm sure I have him in my charts, but I'll get lost and you might never see me. Too much technology for me to handle all at once.
I'm just kind of moving in. I'm moving in with him a little bit. There was that Saturn-y thing going on, but I see like the kidney area light up.
Kidney, yeah. Well, that's usually in Chinese medicine. The kidney chi is the chi that you're born with, and it's usually the one that leaves. Like it's the major, like, and I don't know really what I'm talking about, but it's like the major uh, channel,
Yeah.
and you can like live a long time on very low kidney chi. So, but that is the place. That's usually the spot that when people start to, you know, leave and leave their body, I think that's the place.
A
Uh,
gentle filtration.
yeah, and it's homeostasis, and you can't
Yeah.
keep homeostasis, right? So
Balance, and we've got it. It's a Libra ruled organs,
right.
and the moon is conjunct the North Node in Aries and opposite the
Well,
South
the
Node
South Node's in Libra, right?
tonight. It isn't there the conjunction tonight. Aries moon conjunct the North Node opposite.
I think it's tomorrow. I think that might
Okay.
be. No, maybe it was yesterday. Oh no,
I think
I
it's
should have.
today. No, the moon just moved into Aries this morning, so it's tonight.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Felt
Um,
huh?
well, now tomorrow, Saturn stations retrograde in Pisces. And of course,
Yeah.
Pisces is always associated with spirituality. It's the last sign of the zodiac. And Neptune is at the last degree of Pisces and is going to go retrograde on the 2nd. So this might be a normal time. The other person that I worry about, and maybe I'll pull cards on that, is the Pope, Francis.
Yeah, we've
So
not.
you pick on the Dalai Lama, and I'll pick on Francis.
I just asked the cards after I shuffled them that to respect any privacy
Right.
that is appropriate for this public figure. I understand that, but it's been hard. I really do. So this is a chakra set on the Dalai Lama.
Barbara Armstrong, thank you, Barbara. July 6, 1935, 88 years old.
Yeah.
That's the root?
The root chakra have got 10 of wands. So there's some burning heat. They're applying heat, some kind of heat thing going on there. The root chakra and fire, fire element. And this is a big fire card. Friction. Okay. The sacral chakra, I get the Hierophant.
Okay.
Okay, so that's ruling that area that is the birth and death kind of thing, the law of it, maybe. For solar plexus, I pull 2 because that's like your inner voice, but it doesn't always manifest. So I pull what it's telling you and how it happened. So his inner solar plexus, what his gut is telling him, it's like super well developed, is like crazy, is the Fool card, which is a Uranus.
Right, and a new incarnation, maybe.
He's changing into a different space. Yeah. And how it's manifested is the Empress. So I think there's something there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Heart chakra, Page of Wands. His heart's good.
Messages.
His heart's good. Throat chakra, the same thing, like that voice, the thing that's like, you want to say this, right? And then what actually comes out. So the inner voice, oh, he knows something's not right.
Yeah. He might be getting called home, right? Or to reconstitute, I guess you could say.
He may be having back pain, okay? And the way he manifests his throat chakra is the Emperor. Well, he is very collected. He's very stoic. And even if he's in crippling pain, he'll never let me know that. Right brain, or the creative side, is the Sun. Super cool. Go to the light, my friend, if you need to. Left brain is the Hangman.
Sounds like he might be in meditation, right?
Crown chakra is the King of Cups.
Wow.
Yes, that could be a deep meditative state.
Right.
Both of them, both the right and the left brain, are lit with halo energy, sun energy. And there's a song in my head, so we'll share that.
Do you want to say what the song is?
The song is The Sun's Gonna Rise, and the band is Citizen Hate, I think.
Okay.
If you guys want to look it up, if not, we'll post it in the community page, because I know what it's playing.
We might be able to pin a comment too, I think, on this.
Yeah.
So I did some on the Pope Francis, his root chakra.
Yes.
I got, now, of course, your root chakra is how you walk through the world. It's your stability and the like. And he, of course, isn't really walking anymore. Now he's getting rolled around in a wheelchair. I believe he's 86 or 87. He's around the same age as the Dalai Lama. It would be interesting if maybe the Pope, the Dalai Lama, and maybe Jimmy, who we've been saying was going to leave a long time ago, is still here. I honestly don't think Jimmy Carter wants a ceasefire, and then maybe he'll leave, right? So the root, I get the 8 of Swords. So this says to me that he's walking a very fine line right now. He has to be very careful about the way he walks through the world. And that could just simply be like he has to be rolled around in a wheelchair. because he can't hold himself up anymore. I think, in fact, one of the reasons he's in the wheelchair now is because he did fall, if I remember hearing that.
Yeah. All
Right.
those things are assistive devices around him, kind of thing, sort of supporting him maybe with the
His sacral chakra, which is his water chakra, his emotions, it's issues of sex, money, and power, and we get the Hanged Man here. So of course the Hanged Man is somebody who's in meditative state. He's in a situation where he can't change things when it comes to maybe his energy, right? That sacral chakra is like the fire in the belly kind of energy, but he's utilizing his other senses. He's meditating, or he's looking at the world in a different way, and he's really connected to spirit. It's interesting that they both had. Didn't the Dalai Lama also have the Hanged
suffering.
Man?
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
His solar plexus, we get the Four of Pentacles. So this says to me that his will is very strong. He is not going to be moved. This is a Capricorn card in the system that I use. And so he's still the boss. He's still ruling the roost. It's just like his lower self, the stuff that, like, if anything's keeping him here, it's his will. Okay. His heart, we have the Knight of Wands. So I always kind of see the Knight of Wands as somebody who goes around spreading the good word, right? This is spirit on the road. So I think
Yeah.
that he always has struck me as one of the few, if that I know, popes that I've had in my lifetime who were really walking in the moccasins of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The other ones didn't seem quite as much, but then some of them I was very young, so what did I know?
Yeah.
His throat chakra, the Eight of Cups. This is, there are certain things that he doesn't want to talk about anymore because it's not going to help, or it's not going to, it's just not something that.
He's got a team of 8 swords, 8 cups.
Yeah.
There's that's got to be his core team. There's got to be like 8 people around them.
Mm. And 8 is not 9, and 9 is not 10. 8 is not 9, 8 is not 10. So there's not an end here yet. I don't see an end. His third eye, this is interesting. The Seven of Swords.
Oh.
I think that, and I did a reading on him years ago, and I almost like didn't do it because I thought maybe it was a sin to do a tarot reading on the Pope. But that reading came up that he was fight. There's a lot of like Opus Dei types, and we certainly see that here in this country. And so I think that he's keeping a wide third eye on who's doing what here. They're not fooling him, but people are trying to get away with stuff, and he's keeping an eye on that. And then the crown, I got the Emperor.
Oh yeah.
So you got the Emperor too, right?
I got the Emperor for, I think it was the hearts, or maybe it was the crown. I don't remember, but
no, the King of Cups for the crown.
The Emperor.
And it's interesting because the King of Cups is a Cancer card, and the Dalai Lama is a Cancer. But this is the Emperor. He's in charge. He is what they would say Jesus's representative on earth. I mean, he's the closest I've seen. It helps that he looks like my dad, like, and that his name is Francis and my father's name was Frank. I know that, and they're both Italian. I know that, but still, he has a similar energy. He's a Sag. The Pope. Yeah, I like the only Pope I've really ever.
He's got a lot of support. He's got good medicine around him.
Yeah.
He's got good medical people around him. He has supportive devices, and he'll hang around for as long as he's contracted to.
So, Wendy says, don't forget to press the thumbs up button, folks. We don't even think about that stuff, do we? So it does look like maybe the Dalai Lama is coming to the end. It's interesting that he's 88. That is a 16-7. That's the tower, right? And so, and let's see, he will be in a 7-6, 7-6, that's a 13. 13 and 8 is a 21-3. So his birthday, he's going to move into the world card, which is endings and new beginnings. So thank you for the question.
Yeah.
About the Dalai Lama. That was not something, that was something. So the other question was about aspects. They brought up, and I'm sorry I didn't write your name down, so I'll get better at this, guys. Like when the sun is square Uranus, or like she said, trines are better, squares are, how do you, what's a good resource? And what I would say about studying the aspects in astrology, the best way is to look at the energy of the aspect itself. So in the case of a square where it's 90 degrees, if you just take a regular like Aries rising and you look at, and you take like the Aries point would be the conjunction, the first square would be the Aries Cancer point, the opposition would be the Aries Libra, and then the other square, because there's two kinds of square, would be the Aries Capricorn. And so the square is always a crisis. The opposition is always an awareness. And crisis breeds opportunity and change, right? And so no matter what two planets are square each other, they're asking you to change something. If it's a square that the planets are 90 degrees apart, and you know that because except for the sun, which is always the key planet, because the sun's the center of the solar system, when you're comparing two planets, you take the slower moving planet, which means the planet furthest out in the solar system, put that at the ascendant and see where the other planet falls. If it's a square, it could fall at the 90-degree point, which would be the Cancer point, or it could also fall at the Capricorn point. Each one of those is a change. One is a change in action, that's the Cancer part. Cancer deals with our sense of survival, and so it's usually motivated by fear of survival. And then the other square is Capricorn Aries, and when you put those two energies together, you have the boss and the one who wants to be doing their own thing. And so that requires a change in the way you think. And then, of course, oppositions, which is what a full moon is, right? We do our full moon every month on your channel, Moonshine. That's a point where we're observing what's going on. We don't have to take an action, we're observing. So those are the technically the more difficult, what would they call difficult or challenging aspects, because you have to do something or you have to be aware of something. And the conjunction is a point of birth. So whenever you have two planets really close to each other, those energies blend together. If they happen to be planets that are simpatico, it's great. If they're not simpatico, say Saturn and Uranus, then that Saturn being structure and Uranus being let's blow apart everything, that tension is within that conjunction, and so you're going to have a tension spot in your chart if that's what you have. But say it's Venus and Jupiter, which get along just fine. They're the benefics. So you have power there, but the power is very different than the power we would see with, say, Saturn and Uranus. Luckily, Saturn and Uranus don't get together that often. Way less people have that. And then, of course, trines are flow, and sextiles, which is the other aspect that everybody knows about, is opportunity. Opportunity, it's a mentally stimulating aspect. And so with the you don't have to use what would they consider the positive aspects, but there's also no such thing as a bad aspect. Every aspect in your chart or that's happening to your chart has an energy that you, if you understand it, can utilize. And I think so when you see a square, you know that you're going to have to do something. Something's going to have to change in your life, right? So you go with the change. That's the value of, I think, a value of astrology. And I won't go on more than that, but hopefully I answered the question. And as far as reference, my favorite book on aspects is a book by Bill Tierney. I think it's out of print, so you have to look for it. Um, Aspect dynamics, I think or the dynamic of aspects. And it talks about just the dynamic of the aspect itself. And then you can put the planets in and, apply it to the planets. If you know what the sun means, you know what Mars means, you apply those things to this structure. And then as far as just a cookbook, best one that I've ever seen is Robert Peltier's Planets and Aspects. That's been around since, I think, the 70s. It's an excellent, excellent book. He is no longer with us, but he wrote a wonderful book. So those are some books for the question that was asked. So, is anybody?
You know how I learned, or how I look at it to help me remember, is I look at the degrees before I see anything. If I'm trying to figure out an aspect, I look at the degrees, and those will be like, Venus at 22, and I look for the number 22 on the rest of the chart, right? And if I see it again, then I measure what is Venus doing to the other 22 over there, or here, or here, or there.
Right.
So that's how I kind of learn how to identify squares. And when you guys talk about, like, kites and things like that's more advanced than I can, when they're all over the place kind of thing. But that's how I was able to learn myself the aspects, is look for the same degree.
That is a fabulous way of doing it.
And you're like, okay, so if they're both at 20 degrees of something, what is it? Either one rules another. There's a map to follow then.
Right. And really, astrology is pretty much the 12 zodiac signs, and just in different permutations. Planets, signs, houses, aspects are all permutations of those original 12 archetypes. So if you understand what Aries is, if you understand what Taurus is, if you understand that there are 4 elements, right? There's earth, or you have a lot of earth in a chart, you're going to deal with somebody practical. A lot of fire in a chart, like Trump has Trump has fire, air, and water, I think. Does he have any earth? I don't know if he even has.
Water makes steam, hot steam.
Right, but no earth. Nothing is grounded. Right. Now Biden is mostly water. And water is about relationship. Water is about
emotion,
merging and coming together, and so he doesn't, he's not going to be the same kind of, although he does have his moon in Taurus, which is helpful for him because it does ground some of all that energy. And a lot of Biden's energy is 12th house. So I see him as a doula for the new age, honestly. Sort of saying, here you go, all the old age goes out this way, and he's holding the door open for the new to come in. That's what it feels like to me.
He has surrounded himself and his people with pioneering technologies and energies and stuff like that. I agree that there's just this sort of person. He's appointed the right mix of people, and any age. I'm sure that's not an issue. I think that's important to know that there are people that are working really hard supporting this head of state here.
And many are women,
Yeah.
and many of them are women of color. I think he has the most women of color in positions of power, authority, whatever you want to call it. Um, and women have always been his stalwart. I mean, I think his mother lived to 106. Oh no, that was no, that I think that was the other guy's mother, uh, McCain's mother. But his mother lived into her hundreds, and his sister took over when his wife was killed. His sister took over, and then Jill took over. I mean, he's always been well supported by the women in his life,
Yeah.
and he knows it. Unlike the other guy who sees women as well, like he sees everything,
Disposable. Everything is
something
disposable
you can
unless,
buy and sell.
yeah, unless it benefits him in any way, especially financially. You are disposable. You are of no use to him whatsoever. He has no empathy. Clinical issue too.
I can't believe we're even. I can't believe that people are like questioning the choice here. That it just gets, it's
I
just
know.
beyond and beyond. I think we have to just pull all the way out and say, what kind of world do we want to live in?
Yeah.
One with compassion, or one where it's dog eat dog.
It's not, I really am not invested in a lot of the energy of worry. Okay. I'm not going to invest in
No,
that
no.
because
Yeah, everybody do yourself a
oh,
favor. If you're watching something and they're talking about it and it's making you anxious, shut it off.
yeah,
Hopefully we're not making you anxious.
yeah,
You can shut us off too if we're making you anxious. So
yeah,
you don't need my permission, but it's okay. But anything that's gonna like put you in a state of confusion and take you away from your core, we're in a time of instant manifestation, and if you focus on it, it becomes your reality. So the question is, what do you want to focus on?
yeah.
I think I said this last week. I might say it every week. It'll be
It's
my
easy
mantra.
to create a hyper state of anxiety just by practicing it, by flushing or heart racing, breathing. If you are repeating an anxious pattern, you will always attract yourself to maintain that pattern.
Yes, yes. And breathing is just so. I know when I was taking care of my mother at the end, I was I was doing a lot of hyperventilating. I was like,
Yeah,
it just would the anxiety was just so like I don't and the
yeah,
stress. I was so stressed that I would have to remember to breathe. It was,
yes,
and I've never really been one to be anxious per se.
yeah,
It's not my. I'm usually like, I'm not interested in that, and I'll lay back and I'll like sit back and I'll escape if I have to. But I try not to spend too much time in anxiety. But it was
yeah.
sometimes it's really hard. It's
Well,
situational and.
just like you said, you've got to remember to breathe.
Mhm.
It should be effortless. So everything we were telling you, like you've got to take a deep breath, if you have to remember to take a deep breath,
You
you're
got
in
a
an anxious
problem.
state. You're in an anxious state, right?
Yes,
You're gonna say, okay, I'm
absolutely.
gonna go to the bathroom. 1, 2, 3, 4, hold it 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're already in an anxious state
Yes.
if you have to remember to breathe. It should be effortless. So watch those things: nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and everything. It's part of the whole anxiety spectrum.
Right.
Overeating, over drinking, over smoking, whatever it is, that you can create it just by tipping over that, watching this debate and then following up on it and going in a pigeonhole. And you will find a way to maintain it.
Every Tuesday night, not Friday night, sorry, I watch PBS News Hour because I like to watch the Democrat and the Republican, Capehart and Brooks and Capehart, Brooks and Shields used to be, right? And I like because they're very, um, they're not like reactive. They like
Yeah.
they're and my husband said, "Your guys are on tonight." And I said to him, "I'm not going to watch them. I didn't want to hear about the debate." And I was like, wow, I'm so proud of myself. Now, I might watch them later on, but in that moment, I didn't want to go there.
Yeah.
I did not want to go there.
It was a lot to take in.
Yeah.
It was a lot. There was a lot. There was a lot going on there. Yeah. And I think NPR is like the best option because they just deliver the news.
Right.
There's no inflection in their voice. There's no raised tone. They just tell you what's going on. You form your own opinion kind of thing. And that was the easiest thing. If I had to get up and walk away, I'm like, wow, then, it's really bad. But CNN, MSNBC, God love them. They're trying to pull it together, but they yell at you. They're screaming at you the whole time. And there's a lot of inflection and there's a lot of tone and there's a lot of personal opinion thrown into.
Well, it is opinion. I mean, if you want to know the news, you can't turn on MSNBC.
Yeah.
Because they're only talking about a few things.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. I listen to PBS and I listen to Democracy Now, which is hard to listen to because all they ever talk about is Gaza, which is good because nobody else is really talking about what's really happening there.
Yeah.
So you have to steel yourself sometimes to watch that. I felt the same way when Trump got in. Every morning I'd watch Democracy Now, and by 15 minutes in, I wanted to jump off the top of my house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't. And my husband finally said, Vicki, you can't, you just have to stop. You have to stop. He's really good about it. He really stops me. And I think he doesn't know what's going on, but he knows what's going on. He does sort of pay attention peripherally or psychically, perhaps. He's an Aries, so he's probably just getting it through the vibes. But he's much more right brain than I am. I need data.
Yeah.
I'm a data girl. I need some data. That's why I love astrology because it's data driven.
Yeah. You like math.
I'm not good at math, but I do I like the stereo. I'm going to use the wrong words. Stereographic, stereotrophic. I like when I did that. What was it? The SATs in high school. You take the SATs.
Yeah.
And the nonverbal, where this is a box, and if you fold it at the things, what shape is the box? I was like this on that. Yeah. I knew, but if they asked me a math question, I would cry. I was like, I don't know what X is. No.
You know what? I took the minimum requirements and passed, and then sort of figured it out myself because it's always been, I've always learned a different way.
Yes.
Now I like my employee number. I just see the colors in my head and I punch it.
Yeah. Well, you definitely see the world, and you actually, I think, see the world through the eye of an artist, and that's how my husband sees it because he's an artist as well. And yeah, I think that's great. I mean, sometimes the art comes in, sometimes I'll get the art, but it comes in like a rush, and I do it, and then I don't do it for months.
Yeah, yeah. That's how art is, though. You're not always in that minutia of putting out the same thing. You finish a series, and then you get more stuff in your file.
Yes.
Yeah. What's kind of trending right now? What are people doing? What are they wearing? Is this functional? you know, that kind of thing, and then something else comes up, and you do that. So I it's my relief.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Ona, we've just spent an hour live. So I want to thank everybody that came and hung out with us. We're still figuring out how to do the look there, look here, talk here. So if we miss saying hello to everybody, hello everybody. Now, are we going to do this next week, Ona? Is that because it's going to be your schedule?
Isn't it the new moon?
Uh-oh. Isn't that my key? That's
It's a moon shadow week.
it's a moon shadow. I wonder if we could do a moon shadow
Yeah,
live.
because I got a good picture of the moon last night, I think. And it's been cloudy all day. Like I said, I ain't gonna see anything. But I
Yeah.
think it's full, or new moon is Friday the 4th, Friday the
No.
5th.
Yes, I think so.
New moon in Cancer.
Yes, 15 degrees of Cancer.
Judgment is it's a 20/2. I'm also going to be at the Pride Parade on Sunday. You know where Giblets likes his cups?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's where the parade's starting. So I don't really have a choice. I'm kind of landlocked. If I need milk, I mean, I can't, I have to go through the parade. So I'm going to go to the parade and I'll get some footage, and it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, goodbye, everyone. Thank you for being part of this. We love you all. Let's send some big love out to Joe and Kamala and everybody else who's helping to support the light. Send light to yourself. Take care of yourselves. Breathe,
Yep.
hydrate, find that peaceful place within you. Walk in nature, whatever you have to do. We are the people we've been waiting for, and we have to take care of ourselves.
Yep.
All right.
Perfect.
Take care, everyone. Namaste. We love you.
Bye, guys.